Hi, welcome to the channel. This is Beyond Authentic Health and Beauty, where we go beyond the PR to give you an authentic review. My name is Lisa, and today's video, well, I just wanted to play with some makeup. A few months back, Makeup Revolution sent me an email saying that they were coming out with a whole brand new line. It's something called RELOVE. I'll put the logo somewhere on screen, but I'll show you kind of what the logo is. Look, so it's RELOVE. It's a bit weird. I'm not sure what this all is. I thought that it was, where it was like RELOVE, I thought it was like recycled packaging. I thought it was like, you know, they've got old kind of containers and somehow revamped them, but it isn't. It's just a brand new budget line, and so everything from this line is now £5 or less. So I thought I would give it a go, because you know me, I am a bit of a bargain queen. And yeah, so I'll show you what I got first of all, and then I'll talk about a couple of the other products I've got in this little box. So I picked up the RELOVE Super Serum, the Hyaluronic Acid Foundation, and this is in the shade F2. Now I think it's going to be kind of like it's in a dropper type packaging. So yeah, I think it's going to be, I haven't even looked at it. Yes, it's like a liquid foundation. No scent to it, but it's got, I mean, that's quite a good colour match for me. Currently my skin is looking really good, so I do use a lot of serums, a lot of potions and lotions on my face. I use the Ordinary's Argyle line, I use a vitamin C boosting serum, I use the Dr. Botanicals Cocoa Noir, I use a lot of different serums, and then I use one of the Dr. Botanicals moisturisers. Quite often at the moment I'm using the hemp one, because it really, my skin's really reacting really well to it. So at the moment I don't need to use full coverage foundation, and quite frankly, because it's so hot and where we're wearing masks, when I have worn a full coverage foundation, the elastic on the mask just kind of rubs it off, and so you end up looking really patchy. I end up with little breakouts, little bits of maskne just on here. So I thought a nice liquid formula, a nice gentle formula, is probably going to be okay. Then I did show you this. This is the Super Matte Powder in Translucent. So it's just a pressed matte setting powder, I believe. So there we are. So that's what that one looks like. It's quite nice. It looks really pale on camera. Yeah, it's just a pressed translucent powder. Now I do quite like the Revolution powders. Their loose setting powder in Translucent is one that I've got in, it's actually, I've got one in my tub just here, and it's actually a really good loose setting powder. The only thing I find with this is that it can kind of escapes out the packaging a little bit, but this is actually really nice for a loose one. But I also do quite like pressed powders, you know, like where you push it in with a puff or with your makeup brush and kind of apply it. So I thought that was an interesting one to give a try, because budget pressed powders can be really finicky. They're either really good or absolute crap. So I thought I'd give that one a try. Then I picked up the Trio Contour palette. I think there were different shades of this. This is Sugar. So this cool tone contour shade, although it's classed as a bronzer, I think this for me would be an absolutely fantastic contour shade. And I think that looks really nice. A little bit of a soft highlight and a soft blush moment, a sort of peachy blush. And then I also did pick up their Duo blush and highlighter in the shade Sweet as well. It looks like there's like a wave pattern on there that you can't, the camera's not quite picking up, but it actually almost looks like there's different shades there, but of course it isn't. It's just that one shade. And then for eyeshadow I did pick up this, which is the Shadow Palette Dreamer. So these were all £3 each, these. But yeah, I saw this little palette, and obviously for anyone that knows me, they know that I love pink and purple. Now this is showing us slightly more blue on screen than it looks in real life. It does look a little bit more purple in real life, but even with that being sort of a purpley blue or a bluey purple, a blurple, I just thought that was a really pretty palette, so I'm going to give that one a try. And then on their sales section on the Revolution website, there was some of these, which is the XX Revolution Magnetics Duochrome eyeliners. And so these look really good. I got two different ones. So this one is in the shade Atomic, and that's what it looks like. And it's kind of a green, And I think it's got a green to purple shift. I think that's what it was. Yeah, it definitely goes on green, but it's almost like a green to brown, looking at it. And then I also picked up the voltage one as well. And so yeah, everything here cost me about £25 in total. Now this one's got kind of like a coppery, I thought it was copper to pink kind of shift, but that just looks coppery on my hand just there. I don't know whether you can see that very clearly. It's not doing anything actually. It looks really just really watery, kind of a little bit coppery. Oh, that's better. Right, need a bit more colour in it. There you go, you just need to give it a shake. There you go. There's not really a shift there that I'm seeing, but especially when on the packaging it has got that really vibrant purple, and there really isn't a purple shift there at all. Or maybe a little hint of purple, just get it in the exact right light. Yeah, I'm not sure how well those are going to translate. But anyway, I thought we're just going to play with them, and I will give you my opinions on this new budget line and also these two XX Revolution items. So Revolution now has their standard line, which is just Revolution Beauty. They have Revolution Pro, which tend to be pressed pigment palettes, and their formulas of foundations things seem to be a lot more full coverage and a lot more aimed at sort of professional or very experienced makeup users. The iHeart Revolution range is aimed at sort of the very younger market, and it's a lot more fun makeup. And then now they've got the XX Revolution, which has skincare properties in. They've got the RELOVE, which is their budget line. And now they've got the Planet Revolution as well. And they've got Revolution Skincare and Revolution Hair. So they are literally taking over the entire beauty world at the moment. Now, I didn't pick up a concealer or a primer because I have quite a few Revolution primers and concealers on the go at the moment anyway. Shall we just use the foundation on its own? Let's try that first of all, and we'll see. And if we need to sort of take it off and put it back on with some primer underneath, then we can always do that. Now, I do have a mirror just next to me here, so if you see me looking off there, it's because I am just looking in the mirror. Right then, so I guess we just whack some of this stuff on my face. So then, I do have a beauty sponge. This is also a Revolution sponge. Right, so I'm just going to put some of the liquid foundation. Wow, it's very, very runny. I'm just putting that on the back of my hand, just there. I think this is going to be a perfect colour match for me. I mean, it does look kind of pale, just on my rosy cheeks, but we'll see how that goes over the rest of my face. I don't actually think that's going on too badly at all. That actually feels super, super lightweight. Almost feels like a BB cream, to be honest. In fact, I wonder if I just put some of this on with my fingers. How's that going to work? Let's have a little look, see. So if I put it just in the palm of my hands, and then kind of dab it on with my fingers, and then, I mean, it's got quite a nice bit of coverage on the palm of my hand. I mean, that's, even when you shear it out, there's still some pigment there. That's actually really nice. I like that. I've been really funny with their foundations recently in the last few years, because they've sort of gone down the full coverage line. Now, I did actually bin their Conceal and Define and Conceal Hydrate foundations, because the foundations I found to be far too thick for me, far too heavy duty, far too full coverage. Really didn't like those at all. But this is actually looking, I mean, I know I haven't blended it out yet, but this is actually looking really nice. In person, this actually looks like a much closer colour match than it is looking on camera. So yeah, that's really interesting. I'm going to use a little tiny bit more. I mean, the one thing I will say is that because this is so sheer, where you do need a little bit of extra coverage, so for me, just where I've got kind of a bit of rosiness on my cheeks and rosiness under my chin, I just want to give that a little bit of an extra go over. But it does seem to be buildable, not to get it to a full coverage, but certainly a nice medium coverage. But I've got to say, I really enjoy how that looks. it's given me a fair bit of coverage, like not the most coverage, it's not a full coverage foundation by any way, shape or form, but it's given me enough coverage, but I can still see like my freckles and moles and things kind of showing through. So it's not like a full-on full coverage, but it's a nice medium coverage because it definitely looks like my skin, but just a little bit better. The only thing I will say is that possibly because I didn't put a primer on just up here on my forehead lines, that is looking a little bit liney, so I will just keep bouncing that out as we go, but it's not looking too bad. I've got to say, for the rest of my face it's looking okay. So then I will use a concealer. I'm using the Revolution Supersize Conceal and Define in the shade CO.5, so it's a super light concealer, and I am just putting, again, the Robert Welsh technique as we've all come to know it these days. Just put a little dot there and 2 dots on the side, and I am blending that up and then taking it just underneath my eye, right into the waterline almost, and then take that down. So this concealer isn't new to me and it isn't part of the RELOVE, but it is one of the Revolution concealers, and I've got to say I really like it. It's a really good concealer. As you can see, it's kind of brightening without being sort of too cakey, and I really do like the formula when I remember to use it, that is. I'm going to put a couple of little dots just on my smile lines down there and a little bit just here. Again, not going too over the top, just to give in a little bit of brightening without kind of looking that cakey look, especially because I've got such a lightweight foundation on. The last thing I want to do is then kind of cake up with the concealer. So just using my sort of middle finger, again, it just helps warm up the product, and then it just helps it kind of blend in, just like so. And then just with whatever's left on my finger, just put a little bit just on my chin, and then just blend that I put on my nose. And then all I'm doing is taking the beauty sponge with whatever makeup is still left, that little traces of the foundation, and I'm just going to bounce that over the top just to kind of blend that in a little bit. Not that it needs it, because that is actually looking, again, in person, that looks fantastic. I've got to say, those two products really work well together. Oh. Little itch. There we go. Yeah, I think that looks really good. So yeah, so far, really enjoying that foundation actually. We'll see how it wears throughout the day, and I will report back in a little bit later. But for now, that is actually gone on really nicely. Okay, so moving on to the translucent powder. Just taking a fluffy brush. Now, as you may know on my channels, we never bake. The only baking we do is in the kitchen. So a nice sort of light going over with a setting powder just to set everything in place. It's kind of all you need, really. There we go. I really like that. I really like that. I don't know whether it's done an awful lot. I will say though, the impression, the R is already fading, so it is kind of quite a light, a loosely pressed powder, even though it is a pressed powder, but you do get plenty off without it being too much. And all I've done now is just to put some onto my eyes, and effectively that's just lightened up ever so slightly on my brow bone, so it can almost work as a brow bone highlight. I really like that powder. So far so good. Right then, what are we going to do next? Shall we go to contouring and do the eyes last? Yeah, let's do that. We'll do that. So then, taking the little contour palette and a clean contour brush. So there we go. We're going to dip into this brown shade. Now, for me, that's a perfect contour. It's sort of a little bit on the cool tone side, so it's more grey than it is sort of orangey or pinky. Wow, I quite like that as well. Okay, but because it has got a little hint of that, I think I can probably get away with just using it in the bronzer spots, because I didn't buy a separate bronzer, largely because my last few experiences with Revolution bronzers are that they've been super dark. even the one for the fair skin, even like the lightest ones in their range, as soon as it touches my face, it looks like I'm using cocoa powder. So I've kind of not been using any of their bronzers recently, and if I've had to bronze, I've done it using other products, even using kind of going through my Revolution drawers at the moment for the Shop My Stash. I just haven't really liked them. I've got to say though, this is almost a bronzer, so it almost kind of works. In fact, I think it does work quite nicely as a bronzer or a contour shade. It's kind of a cool tone bronzer, if that makes sense. It's not giving you that orangey glow, but it is just giving you a hint of colour. So I actually really like that. So I'll use this little brush as my blusher brush. Right, okay, let's see what this goes on like. So I put it on just above the apples and then taking it up. Okay, that's not bad. One thing I find with these little trio sort of contour sets is you'll get one shade that matches you perfectly, and then the others are either too dark or too bright or too something. I'm just putting a bit of blusher down my nose just to give me that little cute TikTok moment. You know what a TikTok is? They go boop, 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 boop. And then they all look, I mean, they're all 12 anyway, so none of them need makeup, but they just go like boop, and then it gives you that sort of sun-kissed glowing look. I think that's really pretty. I think that is really nice. But yeah, so there is a competition, or a giveaway I should say, running on both this channel and Beyond Authentic. It's running till the end of August, and there are prizes worth a combined value of £266. So I will link to that video up here in the corner. So do make sure you go and check that one out if you want to enter the giveaway. It's an international giveaway for 2 of the prize bundles. One of them is for UK subscribers or entrants only. But do make sure you go and check those out. And yeah, good luck if you're entering. Good luck if you have already entered, because I know a lot of people have already entered, and it only went up on Sunday. So yeah, thank you very much for those of you who've entered. Okay, so back to these products then. Let's just put the highlighter on, just using the fan brush. Okay, I mean, I quite like that because it is a kind of soft, it's a soft highlight. It isn't kind of a beaming to the gods highlight, if that makes sense. And actually, as you get a little bit older, the sort of texture that you get on your face, sometimes a highlighter can be a little bit too harsh, but actually again, I really like that. Just taking it down the sort of the bridge of my nose and down. What do you all think? I've got to say, I really like this. I am impressed. I am dead impressed. Oh right, I've just realised, because I've used that blusher and highlighter, we'll just put this one on as well. We'll just double up. Why not? It would just be a glowy, glowy, glowy day. Right, so we'll use the same fan brush, because I didn't bring all of my brushes out of the back room. But anyway, here we go. We'll put this one on top. We'll layer it up today. Wow, that's a lot more glowy, isn't it? That one is a lot more glowy. I don't know whether that's picking up on camera, but the difference there, look, this looks kind of almost natural. This is kind of going almost for the Oscar statuette. Look at that, look at that. That is beaming. I'm going to have to level those up now. Although I must say, I was really liking the highlighter just where it was before. I like that a lot. I'll put a little tip there. A little tiny bit just on the Cupid's bow. That looks really nice. Okay. This looks like a really, really soft blush shade. So I doubt you're going to notice any difference when I apply that like so. No, not really. I know, right? I cover up all my rosy cheeks, then I put it back in with blusher. Just the way of the world, isn't it? So I will reserve judgment on this little palette. I've got to say the highlighter in this one is a lot more beaming than on the contour palettes. But actually, yeah, that's really cool. I like those. So far, everything, I've liked everything that I've put on my face. So then the Dreamer Shadow Palette. Now they did have all sorts of different colour combinations in these. They had some more neutral ones. They had some more vibrant ones. I think this was the most kind of in-your-face vibrant. And yeah, if you've been following me for a little while on both channels, you know I don't mind a bit of vibrancy. I quite like it, really. I do quite like, you know, I'm not scared of bright colours. This is just an e.l.f. blending brush. I'm just going to take this lightest colour here, and I'm going to use this kind of almost like a setting colour. Now I have obviously set my eyes already. Now as you can see, I'm not using any type of eye primer because I believe very firmly that for palettes and things, you should be able to use the products straight kind of out of the packet. If you can hear snoring, by the way, both dogs are now snoring, so whatevers. So then let's go in with a bit of colour. We'll use this little fluffy brush, and I think I want to use this yellow colour first. So we'll put that in my sort of inner corner. And again, obviously these little cheapo palettes don't have a mirror, which is a downside, but to be fair, that's not too big of an issue really, is it? Then I'm just going to colour swatch my brush and go in with the, what do I want? I want the orange tone, I think. Next, I'm probably going to use all of these shades. Why not? Why not? Oh, look at that. That's definitely showing up that orange. It's kind of exactly what you would want. So it's definitely a version of what it looks in the pan. You know, sometimes they can look really vibrant in the pan and then you put it on with a brush and it's just like, meh. This isn't that. This is actually looking really, really funky. Right, I'm going to, again, colour swatch the brush and then go in with the pink. And I'm going to add that one in as well. Ruby's awake now. She's just having a drink. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that pink just on the outer corner. Well, not quite the outer corner, just up to the outer corner, really. So it's almost like doing almost like a sunset eye. That pink is really nice. It's a bit more vibrant than the orange. It really is showing up a little bit more than that orange colour. There we go. And then just go in with this bluey purple shade. And then what I'm going to do in a second is try and just blend all of these together. Wow, that colour is super pigmented. That is super, super pigmented. Wow, that's really bright, actually. Right, okay, this is looking really good. So I'm going to grab my mirror a little bit closer and then using, wow, that is all four of those shades are showing up. The one thing I will say is maybe that orange is a little bit kind of muted compared to the others. But, I mean, I could just leave it like that, put a massive wing on and call it like an 80s punk look, really, couldn't I? But I must say, let's see how they blend together. Let's just see. So take that pink up and out a little bit. Yeah, they do kind of blend out quite a bit, as you can see. And let's just, so using little motions just with a blending brush. And then move the yellow and the orange together just a little bit, just to blend those two out. Yeah, that orange really does blend away compared to the pink. I think it's still really nice, don't get me wrong, but I do think I want to add a little bit more of that orange back in a second. So I think they're very pigmented when you just place them. Maybe we'll go a little bit softer with the blend on this eye and see whether we can keep those colours a little more vibrant, maybe. Okay, that's looking a little bit better. And then the pink and that orange have completely blended together again. Right, okay, so I am just going to take a different brush and just put that orange, add a bit more of that orange back in. Now, if you are new to my channels, then welcome. What I will say is I am not scared of bright, bold looks. I never have been. I'm going to take a little bit more of that orange and just kind of, I'll do one tap off because I just want to almost take it across the crease line. I quite like this, you know, actually. I wasn't planning on using all four colours, but actually I think it's looking quite cool right now. So just kind of, as you can see, smoking it out ever so slightly on the outer edge, just with that sort of purpley blue shade. I am going to dip in again on my blending brush just with a little bit of the hot pink, just to blend that into that sort of bluey purple, and then just to build it up just a little bit into that orange. I've got to say the yellow is absolutely, considering it's the colour that I didn't see as I was applying it, it didn't look like it was applying, oh, a little bit of fallout there. But as I say, that yellow really didn't look like it was much as I was applying it. It's actually really intense. I really like it. I think that's a really fun shade. It's kind of, it's almost like a buttercup yellow. It's quite an intense yellow, or like a dandelion yellow, rather than it being sort of a little bit light or sort of insipid. It's actually a really nice bright yellow colour. Right, I think actually I'm almost done with the eyes. Almost looks like a bird of prey, doesn't it? Not a bird of prey, bird of paradise. A bird of prey, yeah. I've got a hawk on my eyes. Right, let's crack on with some of these liners then, shall we? Let's have a look at what these are. Which one do I want to do? I think I want to use the green, you know, because we haven't got a green in this look, in the look, and actually I think I quite like a nice graphic liner. Again, I'm really liking these colours. As I'm looking in the mirror, the colours on my eyes actually look really, really funky. I'm hoping that's going to translate on camera. So there we go, that liner is on. That's better. You definitely need to build this up. So 2 layers of this eyeliner. Okay, so that's had a little time to dry down. I've got to say, I'm not the biggest fan of this formula of eyeliner. When it's wet, it looks really green. It looks like a really nice sort of peacocky oil slick green. It looks really, really lovely. And then as it dries down, it just, if you look on this eye, it just kind of dries down almost to nothing, which is a real shame. But anyway, I think I've been spoilt with coloured eyeliners from the Fenty ones that I really enjoy. I'm just using the Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara. This is the waterproof one. I really like this. It's one that's always in my collection because it is just a really banging mascara, especially for the price point. I think it's something like $1.99 or $2.99, and you can get it in Wilkinson's. So absolutely recommend this one. And this was actually sent to me by one of my lovely subscribers, Ellie. So hi Ellie, if you're watching. Let's just look how good this mascara is. See, it just opens up my eyes instantly. It really does. It is one of the best mascara formulas I think that I have ever tried. And I've tried, you know, I like this one. I like the Lashed one by Marc Jacobs. I quite like the KVD mascara. But for the price point, this is right up there. There you go. See, look at that. So I'm just going to go in and do my eyebrows. Now, for those of you new to the channel, I actually have alopecia, so most of my eyebrows have fallen out. They do grow back occasionally. I get kind of like 2 or 3 clumps of hairs, but for the most part, that's why I don't have eyebrows. And so therefore, I've had them microbladed on, but obviously once I put foundation over the top, they go a bit faint. So I do need just to bring those back into sort of visibility. So we'll just do that with just a little brush. So there you go, that's my brows done. So I'm going to whack on a quick bit of lippy. This is the JSC in the shade Allegedly. There you go. And what I really like to do is, if I'm doing a more bright, colourful look, I like to keep the lips fairly muted. And so for me, this is kind of fairly muted. It's not kind of like a wacky purple or a blue lipstick. Let me just give it a quick spray. This is the Revolution Hyaluronic Fix Setting Spray. So there you go, that is the finished look. What do we think? I've got to say, I actually really like how this has turned out. The Super Serum Foundation, it's a really, really nice soft formula. If you need full coverage, if you've got scarring or pop marks or rosacea that you want to cover up, this might not be for you. It did build to kind of a medium coverage with a couple of layers in places, but actually even then, I think if you are needing a full coverage foundation, stay away from this. However, if you're wanting just kind of a your skin but better look, this is actually really good, and I'm really, really happy with my shade match because this looks really good. in person. As for the super matte powder itself, I thought it was really good. It didn't really do like massively wonderful things. It certainly isn't as good as the Beauty Bakery loose setting powder, but as just a mattifying powder to set your face down, you can go a lot worse than this. For £3 or £4 or whatever it was, I actually think it's done a reasonably good job. It just sits on the face, dries the makeup out, allows you to put more layers on. That's what you want your setting powder to do. But it doesn't look cakey, and it hasn't really changed the formula of the foundation too much, so I like that. Next were the two contour palettes. I've got to say, this little one with the super brighter highlighter, that highlighter is perhaps a little bit much. I do really like it, but I think I preferred the softer look, and of course that blush was just really, really pale, so we didn't really get to see that because I'd already used this one. Now this little palette, this is the contour palette in the shade Sweet. I thought this was brilliant. That contour shade is, I mean, it might be looking either really ridiculous on camera or really good. It's going to be a one or the other, but in person, it actually looks really subtle. Like the contouring around my forehead and the contouring down the sides, I actually think looks really, really pretty. And it doesn't look too intense. It doesn't look too ridiculous. This is something I am absolutely going to reach for again. And I will probably say the same with the eyeshadows. Apart from that orange, which I had to apply a couple of times, I really like how the eyeshadows have turned out actually, especially using all four of these. I think it kind of gives kind of almost a sort of rainbowy, bird of paradisey kind of, almost like a sunsetty eye, but with that little blue on the corners. I think it really just pops really well, and I really like it. So yes, I will definitely be looking at some of the other ones they have in this range. And I've also just realised I didn't use that black at all, did I? But anyway, I really like the look. I could have used that black as an eyeliner, but instead we went for the XX Revolution Magnetics Duochrome eyeliner. Yeah, I'm not sure about this. To be fair, as I'm looking at it, it doesn't have any duochrome element at all. It doesn't even look metallic. It just looks like I've got kind of a slightly muted, almost beige, light brown kind of eyeliner on, which isn't, you know, particularly what I was going for. It doesn't look horrendous, but it certainly isn't this vibrant sort of nice metallic green that the end of the package is. So yeah, if anything from this purchase, I would say the two eyeliners are pretty much the ones that I wouldn't be reaching for overly quickly. Again, I'd much rather go for the Fenty eyeliners, or even the Revolution, the electric blue one I think could have worked with this. But anyway, this is the look for today. What do you think? Do let me know all your thoughts and feelings down in the comment section. If you've made it this far, what can we have today? Let's have a brush emoji if you've made it all the way through, because I have not done one of these makeup looks for a long time, and I've got to say I've really enjoyed it. I really like the products that I've used today, and I totally recommend that you check this one out, either on the Revolution website or wherever else this RELOVE brand is sold. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. That really helps me out here with YouTube's algorithm. Also, while you're there, do make sure that you are subscribed and then click that bell icon so that YouTube notifies you each and every time I upload a video. If you like authentic comment from people who really don't care about being on PR lists and give 100% authentic opinions, do make sure you check out the Authentic Army listings just down in the description box. There's a whole group of small creators here on YouTube. All of us keep it 100% real and give you our genuine opinions about all of the products that we try. Well, that is it for me today, and all that's left to say is stay you, stay safe, stay authentic.